And we are live. We are live. What's up, Jameson?
Hey, not much, man. It's a good evening. I hope you're ready to talk about some history.
You know, you told me about this guy. I thought you were pulling my leg, man. This guy's connected
Hey,
to everybody.
everybody from George Washington to Abraham Lincoln. It's a dynasty. It's a dynasty.
Everybody in between. Jefferson Davis, Black Hawk
hmm
War, George Rogers Clark,
Ohio governor. We
governors,
could go on.
Fort Sumter. You know what do you call it? Chief Justice. You know, John
Yeah,
Marshall.
John Marshall. We get them all, man. It's a
Indian
hodgepodge
Wars. All day
collection.
long, wrapped up in one family, right?
One family, a dynasty. I like the word dynasty. They're a dynasty. The
Dynasty.
Anderson dynasty.
Did you watch the Anderson Dynasty? Did you watch Dynasty back in the day? You're probably too young for that. So your mom probably watched that. So
Yeah, I don't know.
all right, we'll be right back after the intro video.
Welcome to History Nuts. I'm Russ Carson Jr., the founder of Family Tree Nuts. At Family Tree Nuts, we build family trees for people, and we produce videos at historic locations and videos that help to honor your ancestors.
I'm Jameson Cable, founder of the Kentucky History Podcast, where we talk about anything Kentucky history, events, people. If it has to do with Kentucky, we're going to discuss it.
And we've teamed up together to bring you History Nuts.
History Nuts is a live show where we talk about, you guessed it, history.
Right, history seems to be less and less to people today, but we are trying to do everything we can to keep it alive.
Absolutely. History is a passion of ours for sure, but it connects to you. Russ, tell us about the best part of the show.
You can join in. You can comment and ask questions live.
We've got a great topic today, and we know you're going to enjoy this episode of
History Nuts.
All right, there we are. There we are. I'm ready for this, Jameson.
Me too. It's a good story, but hey, first subscribe to the channels if you haven't subscribed yet. Like and share the page on Facebook. Comments. We got some interesting information about comments, right?
We do, don't we? Because this is the very first time that we've done this. Should we tell them or not?
They deserve to know. They deserve to know. They've been here before, right?
First of all, number one, we can see your comments. We can see them.
We're going to be watching and we can see the comments. So we'll be replying for the most part.
But
however, it's not live.
Right now, as you're looking at me, I'm not driving. My wife's probably driving, but I'm in Wisconsin. So, you know, but we're going to be monitoring these comments. This is not technically live. We're filming this pre-recorded, but it's going out live. Comment because everybody else can still see your comments. We'll be able to reply to your comments on the comments. We just can't reply to you right now unless we got telepathy, right?
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen here in a little bit.
But we want your input. We really do, though, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about tonight. I mean, things from the Civil War to Revolutionary War. So there's a good chance we're going to talk about something or somebody that you know.
Yeah, I would say that if you were watching History Nuts, you're going to know a lot of these people we're getting ready to talk about. So let's get into it. The Anderson Dynasty.
The Anderson Dynasty, I'm sure nobody knows who the Andersons are, but they were massively connected to, well, just about everybody.
Yeah.
But we want to start with the patriarch, of course, Richard Clough Anderson. And that is Clough. I'm saying that right?
I reckon. See Clough. Let's put him up. Picture of him up there.
There you go. Look,
it could be Clough.
Clough.
Yeah.
Clough. I don't know. Maybe we need a linguistic person to clarify that for us, right?
Yeah. Right.
He was born. He's the patriarch of this family. He was born in January the 12th of 1750 in Gold Mine, Hanover County, Virginia.
Gold Mine. You tell me he's born in Gold Mine. The name of his town is Gold Mine.
From what I understand, yes.
I tell you what, man, if you want to, people to move to your town,
Call it, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's
Kind of like the
exactly.
Vikings called Iceland, and Greenland. Greenland.
Yeah,
It was kind of opposite, right? Gold
yeah,
mine. It's
yeah.
probably a crap hole, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, it's an early town. I would say it's nothing special, unless you're from Gold Mine, and it's a wonderful place.
Wonderful place. Somebody's got to be from Gold Mine seeing this. So moving on. Sorry to interrupt. We got a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah, so he was the captain of the Hanover Militia. And that's one thing I know we've kind of breezed over his youth, and I don't really know much about his youth. But he actually was Hanover Militia, and fought in the Revolutionary War. Now, he's got a huge connection here. Have you heard about the crossing of the Delaware? Right.
What is that?
Well, it's a big thing. Oh, here's a picture here of old George Washington going across the Delaware, and guess who was with him? Oh, Richard Anderson. Oh, Clough or Clough.
I think I see him back in the back there. You see him?
Yeah, yeah.
He's that guy with that big old schnoz, man.
Yeah.
Let's go back to him. Look at there. You see now? I want you to see that now. There he is. You see him?
There he is. I think I see him. He's the one. He's the one they're telling time by.
Right.
But he also, another huge connection here when you think about Revolutionary War. He was the aide to Marquis de Lafayette.
Oh yeah.
During our fighting Frenchmen during the Battle of Yorktown. So that is another, big connection. I mean, this guy's huge, right? He's connected to everybody.
So he was Lafayette's aide. Now, tell me that you're not related to him. Look at him. When I saw that picture of the Marquis de Lafayette, I'm like, that looks like Jameson. Look
Yeah. Well, that forehead is.
You grow yours out just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Let's go back. Look at Jameson.
Yeah.
Look at the Marquis de Lafayette. You have got to be related to him, man. So
I think I definitely have some French royalty somewhere back in the line.
Of course you do. Straight out of Rockcastle, right?
Yeah.
Cornbread Mafia comes from royalty.
Cornbread Mafia. There you go. But anyway, so he's also a charter member of the Society of Cincinnati, which was founded in like 1783, I believe. Nice little pin, which is basically a society for Continental Army vets. I'm pretty sure Washington, all of them were members of it. There's a few other
officers.
Yeah.
Kind of like a secret society, but not really. Mm-hmm. It's just something in order, and that's where the name of Cincinnati, that's where General St. Clair changed the name of Cincinnati to Cincinnati after that society right there. So whole nother video, right?
Whole nother video.
This particular video we're doing could be about, I don't know, we could make like 40 videos off of the people that's in this, maybe 50. So
yeah, it might be a two-parter if we get too long-winded. But so anyway, he moves. He gets his some of the battles he fought in. He was a lieutenant for the Continental Army. He was wounded in the Battle of Trenton and Savannah, and that pretty much kind of put him on the side as far as his military career at the moment.
I found that interesting that, Trenton's in New Jersey and Savannah, was in South Carolina. So he was part of the, the Northern and the Southern campaign, which is rare. Usually people are in one or the other. So,
So after the war, he moves to Kentucky in 1784, and he moves to what is Jefferson County, which is Louisville, if you don't know.
What did you say? Where?
Louisville.
How do you spell that?
Louisville, like that.
Yes, some people would call that Louisville or Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah, got it.
You gotta get your
I just
tongue
pretty clear because we say Louisville, people watch this from all over the country. Have no idea what Louisville is.
Yeah. So he was the chief surveyor of the village or the Virginia Military District And he'd been given, Revolutionary War vets. He'd been given a land grant, so that's how he kind of got there. But he marries somebody very important, or at least the sister of somebody very important. He marries Elizabeth Clark in
Who the
1787.
heck is that? She's connected to a few people, isn't she?
That she is the sister of George Rogers Clark.
Look at that.
There you go.
Talk
Yeah.
about Marion well there.
Yeah, and
You know?
and it makes a lot of sense. George Rogers Clark has a huge connection to Louisville. Here he is. He's moved to Louisville, and marries his wife, or marries George Rogers Clark's sister.
Yeah, he does. And GRC is one of my heroes, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Somebody that so many people don't know hardly anything about. We've done multiple videos about GRC.
Yeah,
and
especially the early frontier, man. He comes up all the time.
Absolutely, yeah, big time.
So him and Elizabeth have 3 daughters and 1 son, and the one son is named Richard Clough Anderson Jr. And we'll talk about him in just a second, or about his life in just a second. That's a bit of a picture. He definitely inherited his daddy's nose.
That's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah. So a few other things. He was a delegate for the Kentucky Constitutional Convention in 1788. He was a presidential elector in
Slow down. What did you say?
What?
Slow down. You're like,
He was
you're knocking me out with facts. He was a delegate for what?
The Kentucky Constitutional Convention, or the statehood convention, those sorts of things. In 88. Yep. And then 5 years later, he's a presidential elector. And he would have to be one of the first presidential electors, because Kentucky had just become a state in 72 or 92. Right. So,
92,
yeah. But his wife sadly dies in 1795, which is, tragic. I'm sure. I don't really know the cause, but he remarries 2 years later. And guess what? He remarries to another connected person. Anne Marshall, who is the cousin of John Marshall, who was the first Chief Justice of the U.S.
Wow!
So,
I mean,
pretty big names here.
He wasn't marrying my family, that's for sure. He wasn't marrying the local farmer's daughter, I guess. These people, these blue bloods, they get connected. Mm-hmm. So many ways, especially with the lack of population of the time, which was just, the way of the system. So America's a lot different. Well, not totally different today, but it's a little bit different. So
a little bit different, but anyway, so they actually have him and Anne have 12 children. So that racks up a big total of 16 children that he has, and there's a lot of them that are important. Don't show the pictures of these, but I'm just going to run off these people's names, and we're going to talk about them a little bit more down the road. First we mentioned was Richard Anderson Jr. The second one, or not, and this isn't birth order; these are just some of the names. Charles Anderson, who becomes the 27th governor of Ohio. William Marshall Anderson, who is an author, explorer, politician, all those sorts of things. And then a big one here, Robert Anderson, who actually surrenders.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him.
Okay. All right. We'll wait for Robert to the end.
He's the big one, man. So.
Yeah. So, son
you got to stay with
number
us.
1. Yeah, son number 1. Yeah, hang on. Son number 1 is Anderson Jr. All right. Let's show him up there again. He was born in 1788. And he was born at a Soldier's Retreat, which is what their little place is called there in Jefferson County. His mother died, like we said earlier, when he was only 7 years old. So pretty rough, but it takes a good quick turn. Guess what? He attended a private school in 1780 or in the 1790s. Not a lot of private schools going around, but he was able to attend a private school, but he had some very well connections. He also attended William and Mary College. Right? There you go. That's a nice looking. When was it established? Do you know that right off the top of your head?
It's the first school in the New World, isn't it? William and Mary.
I believe
And I
so. Yeah.
think that it's one of them schools that so many people are back in colonial history and stuff attended. I know that we've talked about um, Dr. Thomas Walker went to William and
Yep.
Mary, and at this point in time, um, there wasn't a whole lot of schools that are out there, Yale and Harvard and things like that. But William and Mary was actually founded in 1693.
Whoa,
So,
whoa, that's an old
clear
one.
back in the 1600s,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So named after, Mary, Queen of Scots, and William, the king.
So, O. Anderson Jr. here, he marries Elizabeth Gwathmey. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Gwathmey. In
Sounds
1810.
like a Welsh name to me.
They have 4 children. He also studied law at Virginia. He began practicing law in Louisville in 1815. And then we start getting the connections start rolling in because guess what? He gets into politics. He has a pretty interesting story. His political career is quite, intriguing. He has some unusual positions, but they make a pretty big impact. Pretty big.
Very very diverse.
Yeah.
He's not a name. He's not a Henry Clay. He's not a Thomas Jefferson or a name that you're gonna know, but very very massively internationally diverse, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously his first steps is the Kentucky legislature. He is elected in 1815. He then moves to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1817, and then he's elected to the chair of the Committee of Public Lands. That's a federal position, so he's pretty much knocking boots with the feds. He returns to Kentucky, becomes a legislator again, becomes a Speaker of House.
You're a little younger
then
than me. You need to check out what that means, but go ahead. So
what's that?
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
But now he gets a big job here, and I'm going to pronounce this the best I can. All right, he's appointed the plenipotentiary of Columbia in 1823.
I think it's a philanthropy.
The plenipotentiary.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. A big word.
Too good in Latin class, did you? So.
No, they didn't. They didn't offer it in Rod Castle.
But it's not like philanthropy, but of dealing with mankind, mankind and civilization and things like that.
Yeah.
But
So,
and before we forget, make sure you comment, guys. We still want you to comment. We're watching the comments, kind of thing. We're commenting ourselves too. So, but I just seen what you wrote, Jameson. That was funny. But
okay.
48 hours from now. But yeah.
So he's basically a diplomatic head of a mission here. He would be below the ambassador. That would be like the head person,
Right.
So he's a pretty important little job here he's got. But while he's there, he negotiated with Pedro Gall and formed the Anderson-Gall Treaty.
Pedro.
People probably think, what in the world is that going to do with anything?
Do you think when during his election he had vote for Pedro signs?
Yeah. I mean, he was the originator, I'm sure.
I guarantee you 90% of the people watching have no idea. If you know what I'm talking about when I say vote for Pedro, comment and let us know. So.
Yeah. But the treaty opened up trade relations between the U.S. and what was then called Gran Colombia, which is basically Grand Colombia, I believe, if you translate
and Venezuela and that whole area. But why
South
is that
America.
treaty? Why is that treaty a big deal?
Well, it was the first treaty that the U.S. signed with, I'm going to say, it's another American state. Now, that does not listen, we got North America, South America. That's what I mean by another American state. So
Yeah. Not Europe,
big deal.
not Europe,
Yep.
not Russia, not Asian, not African, but another on this side of the world during the Monroe Doctrine. Our side of the world.
Yep.
So
Yep. And it lasted until about 1837. So I mean, pretty cool little.
I mean,
spot there.
we said that in passing. Let's say that. I mean, I'm going to dwell on that for just a second. This is a guy that, if you're watching this, I'm willing to say that 99.9% of the people watching have no idea who this person is.
Yeah.
He's a Kentuckian, and he is the first person that negotiated a treaty with the United States with a country that's not in Europe, Africa, or Asia. I think that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'll say this too. There's a video on my YouTube channel about him and his father that you can watch and check it out a bit more. I guess if you watch those, you may already know. But
yeah, put those links in here, Jameson, in the comments. To those.
Yeah. So that pretty big ordeal, and of course this kind of continues. He is then the envoy extraordinaire and minister plenipotentiary.
Yeah.
For the for the Panama Congress of Nations, and he travels to Cartagena.
Yeah.
Look at that one. Cartagena. Am I close?
Cartagena.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Cartagena.
I would
Yeah.
say Cartagena.
Yeah. In 1826. So he's on his way there though, and he falls ill, and he dies of a yellow fever in Turbaco, Panama. And he is taken back to Jefferson County, and
he's buried off Hurstbourne right there. If you're familiar with that area, they got a lot of good restaurants right there in Hurstbourne Parkway, man. So
and one thing that
all the way from Panama to Louisville.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly, but that's a good month voyage or so. I mean, how long would that take to get there? I mean, I don't know. Wow. But one thing that does still live, or his, I guess, legacy does still live on, is Anderson County, Kentucky, is named after him. So
can you believe that?
Yep.
I want to know, if you're watching this from Lawrenceburg, if you're watching this from Anderson County, Kentucky, I want to know how many of you knew that that's who your county was named after. The guy that negotiated the first treaty with another American state for the United States.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Really? Not named after his dad, who fought in the Revolution. Named after him. Not named after his brothers.
Yeah. You think we should take our commercial break now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Right? You ready?
I'll lead in. My video is a video. It's just a clip of a video that's coming out this Friday, and we're gonna be doing some more videos about the Night Rider. So, and then you can talk about yours there.
Yeah, my video both these clips are about a minute and a half, so we'll be right back. It's a little teaser from our video that's being released on Saturday night, just a couple nights from now. Real excited about this one, but you want to check them both out. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready. After the first raids of the Night Riders, fear increased, and so did the raids. And so did their numbers. The Night Riders spread across western Kentucky, intimidating and forcing the farmers in as many communities as they could. And slowly, the violence increased.
Yeah, that's really good, man. Loving it.
This is where the ruthless Confederate guerrilla, Captain William Quantrill, the commander of the infamous Quantrill's Raiders, met his final demise. Hey everybody, this is Colonel Carson with Family Tree Nuts, and I'm in Spencer County, Kentucky, just a little bit south of Taylorsville. And I'm very near the location where William Quantrill was mortally wounded and captured. And by the way, if you like these types of videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that little bell so you get notifications as to when we post new videos. I've got a special guest with me today. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Davis Downs.
And Mr. Downs, what is your connection, what is your interest with Captain Quantrill in this story?
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Spencer County, Kentucky, and the historical marker that was dedicated in 1957, and I was in the 7th grade and had written a book report on Quantrill because he was killed or shot 1.5 miles from where my current residence.
Wow.
So I was asked to participate in the dedication along with Joe Creason, who was a writer for the Louisville Courier-Journal, and at the dedication when the sign was put at Wakefield, Kentucky.
Down in Wakefield, yeah, you were this little community, little map doc community is south of Taylorsville there.
Right, and it was during the Civil War, it was a place that contained a lot of Southern sympathizers.
Yeah, buddy. Little teasers on both of them, right? You got me ready for your video on Friday night, man. What time is that here on Friday?
It'll be posted 6 a.m. So
Friday morning. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That looks really intriguing. You've come a long way with those videos. Love them. And that video about Quantrill, that's Captain William Quantrill.
I mean,
Quantrill's Raiders, haven't you?
Yeah. That's some good stuff, man. Good history.
Me and Mr. Downs there, right there where Quantrill was captured. Well, he was shot in the back and captured, and well, I won't tell you the rest of the story there, but we talk a lot about him, and that's a 1.5-minute clip of a 16-minute long video, so that's a really good one. About so yeah, that's Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So
cool. Well, be ready to tune in. So the next son of the Andersons. We ready for him?
Make sure y'all chime in. Let us know where you're watching from. We're not reading your comments, but we're commenting on your comments on there. So we still want to have you involved, please.
Yes. And again, yeah, we appreciate it. Let us know where you're watching from as well. So Charles Anderson, he is born in Louisville, and he graduates from the Miami University, all the way down in Florida.
No.
We're talking about the one in Ohio.
Hey, little side note. Why is there a Miami, Ohio, and the Miami River, the Little Miami, the Great Miami River, and then there's Miami, Florida?
Well, the Native Americans, the Miami tribe is what the people in Ohio are named after, correct?
Yeah, but why is there a Miami, Florida?
That one I don't know.
Here's your little trivia question. Land speculation. A bunch of guys from the Miami River area went down and started a land speculation company down there in southern Florida. Miami. So Miami is actually named after
okay.
So if you're talking about college football, they talk about the U. That's Miami, but then you got Miami of Ohio. Really, that was the OGs, the Miami.
That's it.
Back to the Andersons, brother.
Yeah. So he goes to Miami University in 1833. He's admitted to the Ohio bar, so the law thing, and he starts practicing in Dayton.
Yeah, so he's from Louisville area there, but he goes to Miami, and that spurns his whole life there in Ohio.
Yep. Pretty much he stays in Ohio for the most part. He becomes a senator. He's a big time advocate for African American rights.
Yeah.
And this actually well and he goes to Ohio, and there's a lot of movement in Ohio. When some of the things I've read, there's a lot of publications and that sort of it becomes as far as Civil War goes, it's a free state, so that is a big thing, big draw as well. But at one time, he goes to Texas in the
Yeah.
1860, and that's a pretty big date there in 1860.
Yeah, there's some things are getting pretty hot right there. Not just the weather in Texas.
So he goes to Texas, goes to San Antonio, and he makes a big Union speech, and it does not go well. Pretty
No,
much
it does
angers.
not. Can you imagine Adolf Hitler or one of his, henchmen, giving a big speech about 1940 in New York City?
Yeah, not gonna go well.
No.
So it actually angers a lot of the pro-Confederate people there in Texas, and they threaten him and his family, and he decides to move back to Dayton.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Probably wise move.
That's probably his wife's decision. He might have thought he was going to be making a change. He was making it, but his wife says, "We are getting the freaking heck out of here." Yeah. So I really like to think that's what happened.
Yeah. So we come back in. He comes back to Ohio, and guess who calls him up? Oh, Abraham Lincoln.
Who's that?
Oh, big president. I mean, Civil War guy here. There you go. Oh, commander in chief. And he sends him to Europe to kind of campaign for the Union.
I love that picture of him, though. That's such an awesome photo.
Yeah.
That's him after the war. Right as the war or when the war was ending. He's got that bed.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, pretty big. I mean, that's a pretty big appointment from the president to.
I was making jokes. Where's he appointing?
Oh, to what? Oh, he went to Europe to campaign for the Union. Yeah,
actually, sure did.
So pretty high position.
But man, most of Europe was supporting the Confederacy, by the way. So.
Well, I was gonna because I was gonna bring that up, but I didn't want to get us too off topic.
Yeah, too off topic. We can talk all night long, huh?
Yeah. But he comes back home. And he joins the 93rd Ohio Infantry as a colonel. He is wounded, though, in the Battle of Stone River.
Mm-hmm.
And he resigns, and then he returns to Ohio to recover from his wounds. But that's not the biggest thing that happens to him, I guess, maybe. He hops into politics again, becomes the lieutenant governor of Ohio in 1863. Guess what happens to, I guess, some tragic fate? The governor of Ohio, John Bro.
Yeah.
Is that right? Bro?
Yes.
Bro.
Bro.
Ahead of his time. He's definitely ahead of his time. But a year after they take office, he dies. The governor dies. And so Charles steps up and becomes the governor of Ohio. And he's actually only governor for like 5 months.
5 months, yeah.
Still, he's the governor. Gets to hang his hat on that one. That's pretty much it. After his position as the governor, he goes home and practices law in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So moves back to Kentucky. Died at 81. So
crazy.
Long life. Yeah.
I mean, the family tree of these guys, so.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna here when we get down to a few more, it's gonna be like these guys are like we're in the mix of everything. I mean, when it comes to
we're halfway. We're not even. We're about halfway through the brothers, aren't we?
Well, yeah, we got I think two more.
Yeah, I mean,
and this one. Go ahead.
It's just nuts. I mean, let me recap before we go. We're talking about Dad. He's in the Revolutionary War. He's crossing the Delaware, for goodness sake. Moves to Kentucky. He's marrying George Rogers Clark's sister. And Marshall.
John Marshall,
the Chief Justice John Marshall's cousin.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he's got two boys. That one gets a county named after him. Negotiates the first treaty of the United States with a non-European or Asian or African power, and then now he's got another son that becomes the governor of Ohio, and we got some big ones coming.
Yeah. Now, this next one, William Marshall Anderson, who's named after Judge John Marshall, who actually went by Marshall. He is probably, out of all of them, if I was to say who had the most interesting life, I'm gonna say he probably did, because he goes on a bit of an adventure.
Yeah, he
Uh,
does. And I got a surprise for you about him you don't even know about, but keep going.
oh, all right, all right. So in 1834, um, he goes on a trip to the west, a fur trading party, and he kept a journal about all his encounters and some of the people he encountered. Uh, a lot of the mountain men of the time, but Kit Carson, and everybody knows Kit Carson, right?
Oh, yeah, you better know
There
Kit
you go.
Carson.
Oh, cuz, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another Colonel Carson, right? So
Uh, mhm.
yeah, buddy.
Uh, So he talks about Kit Carson. He does come back to Ohio, does the typical family trade of practicing law for a little while in Chillicothe.
He
Um,
Yeah, Chillicothe.
yeah, well, he marries the daughter of a former governor, Duncan McCarthy.
Yeah,
Um,
married
he
well, marries well.
Yeah, he runs for Congress, but is unsuccessful a few times. His other brother, Large, managed managed the legal and financial matters of the Archdiocese of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Uh, some important stuff, I guess.
Yeah, but he ends
Um,
up becoming like a Catholic fanatic
yeah, he kind of becomes a zealous. I mean, I guess that would be the term. Um,
because the family's not Catholic, but he was.
yeah, yeah.
Side story there.
That's right. Yeah.
Older
So
brother, yeah.
his next wild journey in 1865, he journeys to Mexico with this archaeological expedition, and their plan. Uh, sorry, he's there for a while. He actually gets yellow fever. He is able to in Veracruz. I don't really exactly know what spot that is.
Uh,
He cut.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
on the eastern coast area there, Veracruz.
yeah, yeah. So excuse me. So he's there. He gets sick, but the whole point it's very confusing on why he is there. Like the whole mission or archaeology. And come to find out, I believe he's a Confederate sympathizer. Now, if I'm correct, his brother though was a big time Union man,
Big time,
big time.
big time, big time.
Yeah. So he does though. He moves back to he gets sick and he comes back to the U.S. And lives there for about 15 years in Circleville, Ohio. His house that he lived in is actually on the National Registry of
Circleville.
Historic Places. Circleville, yeah. I don't know where that's at. Do you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with Circleville.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, Jameson, that's my home county.
Is it?
And Circleville is our high school rival. We hate those guys. We hate the Circleville Tigers, man. Like, that's what I was telling you. Dude, I'm like, you got a connection you don't even know about. That's my.
That's cool.
Pickaway
So,
County,
so have you been to his? Have you been to his? I've seen his house.
Honest to goodness, I have not until we started talking about this, and I promise you, I'll be there. I talked to the Pickaway County Historical Society. That's where my family is all from. And by the way, you've heard of Chief Logan. Logan's Elm is right there. It's right near the Pickaway Plains. Chillicothe's right down the road. Tons of Native American Shawnee history right there. But getting way off topic. Now you know where I'm not a native Kentuckian, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah. So here we go. Here we go. Some more. Real quick. This is like his son, and this is probably one of the few sons we'll talk about of the son of the son.
Right. Sure.
Was Thomas? Yeah, grandson Thomas MacArthur Anderson, and he was a decorated officer in the Civil War.
Yeah.
And again in the Spanish-American War.
And
the Philippine insurrection that followed.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
He's in it all. and this is the grandson of Marshall, or the son of Marshall, the grandson of
our Revolutionary War veteran. Yes,
Revolution, Richard Anderson. So pretty interesting story. We got one more son. Are you ready for this one?
Son? Yeah, buddy.
He's the big one, and there is he's got a long list of stuff here. So Robert Anderson. Oh, Robert, looking quite snazzy there. He may not. I don't know. He looks like he probably got the nose too, but just maybe not. Maybe an inch or two off. So he is probably the most interesting, I guess I could say, in the sense that his one thing
stuff that you've heard of.
Yeah, his one biggest thing is just, I mean, oh my goodness, this connection is pretty awesome. So Anderson was born at Soldiers Retreat, the family estate in Louisville. He graduated from West Point in 1825. I wish I would have put down their birth years, because I don't know all of their birth years right off the top of my head. But you got to think, if he was graduating from West Point, he was probably graduating. He'd have to have been at least 20, I would assume, or around that. Trying to get an age for it.
When did he graduate at West Point?
1825.
Yeah.
So he received a commission as a lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of Artillery. And a few months after his graduation, he became the private secretary to his older brother, Richard Clough Anderson Jr. So, got that connection. And he actually went on the tour to Columbia. He traveled with his brother. So he also served in the Black Hawk War of 1832.
Right.
Don't know too much about that war necessarily, but that's Black Hawk there, correct?
That's a big war there in that time period. It's got a lot of guys that we've talked about in the past. That's Chief Black Hawk right there, but that's in Illinois, and you got Zachary Taylor, the Kentuckian Zachary Taylor. That's the commander of that war. But then also Jefferson Davis, that married Zachary Taylor's daughter. You know who Jefferson Davis is, don't you?
Yeah.
President of the Confederacy, involved in the Black Hawk War, and there's another fella that's that spent some time in the Black Hawk War. You ever heard of that?
Abe, yes, yes, yeah, Abe.
With the Illinois militia, fighting against Black Hawk. I think he kind of has the same hairdo you have. I think you ought to go ahead and get your ears out.
Yeah.
Black Hawk.
So I don't know. I probably can't pull it off.
That's a whole other thing. We got to talk about some daggone Black Hawk War. That's a war that most people don't know about, but a lot of people that you know about were involved in that.
Yeah. So during all this, he transports Black Hawk to Jefferson's barracks, and is assisted by Jefferson Davis. He has an interaction with Abe as well.
Well,
I mean, and this is
what's his interaction with Abe?
He is the distinction of mustering.
Yeah, he mustered him out, in and out. Mustering is like enlisting and joining up with, and then mustering out.
All right. Okay.
House.
Yeah.
He's got interaction with old Abe. Before he's Abe.
Abe. Yeah. And I would bet that's probably the connection to the brothers. I mean, we're looking at hey, this guy Abraham Lincoln? Hey, yeah, I got a brother. Yeah, I got 12 of them, or however many there was. Anyway, that's how it goes, rubbing elbows. But he becomes the first lieutenant in 1833. He serves in the Second Seminole War. He's the general or assistant adjutant general of Winfield Scott. He becomes a captain.
Zachary Taylor's rival. He served in Zachary Taylor and Black Hawk's War, Second Seminole War, now the Mexican War. Well, no.
Yep.
Winfield Scott is Taylor's rival.
So you said it. Mexican-American War. Participated in the siege of Veracruz. Is the Battle of Molino del Rey. Anyway, a lot of battles. Yeah, he is wounded, and he is takes some sick leave, and he's at a few forts, Fort Preble in Maine. Am I saying that right? Preble, Maine. Yeah.
You got me there, brother. If you're watching from Maine, let us know how to spell that.
Yeah. Preble. Preble. I don't know. Anyway,
we don't know everything. We know a whole lot, but we don't know everything.
But not everything. Anyway, I mean, this is some kind of stuff. All this is building up to the big one. All right. And in November of 1860, might be ringing some bells. He is assigned to command U.S. forces around Charleston, South Carolina. In South Carolina, secedes from the Union in 1860 in December. Anderson,
the first state.
Oh yeah, the first state. Yeah,
state to do so.
Anderson remains loyal to the Union, and he was a native of Kentucky, a former slaveholder. He moved his small garrison from Fort Moultrie, which was kind of a small fort, not that much defense there.
I've been there.
And he moves it to Fort Sumter, which is in the middle of Charleston Harbor, all that. I mean, it's the big one. Yeah. So, and then in 1861, in February, the Confederate States of America are formed, and they take charge, and they, on the orders of President Jefferson Davis, they order to capture Fort Sumter. And it's kind of a big battle, kind of the first battle of the Civil War. They attack it. Anderson actually, so the commander, the artillery attack was commanded by Brigadier General PGT Beauregard.
Cajun.
He'd been Anderson's student at West Point.
Can you believe that?
That is pretty crazy. The battle goes on.
Makes you nauseous thinking about this. You know what I'm saying? We talk about these history things in passing, but this is somebody he had a personal relationship with, and now we're mortal enemies.
Yeah,
we were on the same. I don't know. Another topic, but
another topic. Yeah. And well, so the Battle of Fort Sumter really doesn't last that long. No one dies. Excuse me, but one Union soldier, right, is killed, and another is wounded, but is wounded during a 50-gun salute, right?
Yeah, how about that? Huh? That's a nice little Jeopardy trivia question there.
Yeah. So Anderson, though, he is the one who surrenders Fort Sumter.
Wow.
And
that's
crazy.
Bam.
It's crazy.
I mean, we're going to talk a little more about that, but bam. What a family connection. These are brothers. They're step nephews of George Rogers Clark. And they're cousins of John Marshall.
Marshall. Yeah. Their dad was under George Washington. They knew Abraham Lincoln.
Gosh, man,
it's pretty crazy.
Brother of the governor,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. The whole thing. He kind of becomes this national hero too because of the stand there at Fort Sumter. Being able to withhold the Confederates' attack. He does surrender in the end. He pretty much didn't really have much of a choice.
I think he took the standard, took the flag to New York City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he takes the flag to New York City, and it's kind of this. I mean, he kind of becomes this big deal, this big symbol of
I think it's the
the
biggest
war.
gathering in North America up until that date. He's kind of a
Mhm.
rock star for the rallying cry of the Union, of maintaining the Union. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I mean that I'm probably there's a bit more, but I'll probably just
well,
jump over that and get
he
to.
continues to fight, with with
Mhm,
an Ohio unit and in the Civil War, and
mhm.
right at the end of the war, though, this fella you might have heard of this guy.
Oh,
He
Robert
resigned.
D. Lee, right?
He, after he resigned, he went back to. There's a lot about it, but he went back and raised that flag at Fort Sumter.
Yeah, and Fort Sumter, yeah. That's a thing. Well, and I will bring up one thing that's kind of just because it's full circle, of course. He was actually put in charge of Kentucky for a brief time, but Lincoln removed him, I believe, and I can't think of who he put in after that. I know the butcher Burbridge was there, but it was somebody in between there, I believe that.
The butcher, come on, man.
Yeah.
You sound like a Confederate, man. So some people are going to be a hero. I know he had some dealings with his command went to this guy too. So people call him a butcher. Up to Sherman too. But
Yeah.
we're skimming
Yeah.
through because we've been doing. We're gone so long. We're skimming through so many things about these guys. These guys deserve their own shows. But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's about it. He actually goes to France for a while and he dies in France.
yeah, he
Oddly
died
enough.
He died in Lyon. So I
Yeah.
bet you didn't know it
So
was pronounced Lyon.
no.
Or no, it's not. He didn't die in Lyon. He died in Nice, didn't he?
Nice,
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice, not nice, Nice.
But pretty crazy, man. I mean, that's a wild. I mean, how do you get that well? I mean, I guess if you had 16 kids, some of them are bound to do something.
Yeah, you're a daggone, grand or nephew of this guy, George
Mhm.
Rogers Clark, nephew of this guy,
Yep.
William Clark,
Lewis. Yep.
Lewis and Clark expedition.
Mhm.
Other guys are cousins to this guy.
Yep.
You
The
know,
dad fought with I don't know if he's gonna show that one next. I don't know which one he's
I
going. Yeah,
can,
George
yeah.
Washington.
Dad
Yeah.
crossed Delaware. You know,
Yeah. He was
not against Chief Blackmore.
yeah.
Good pals
His
with
dad
this.
was the aide to Marquis de Lafayette. Lincoln connection. I mean,
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
his dad was the aide to Marquis de Lafayette, who was Jameson's great grandfather. But, I mean, what? It's amazing dynasty,
Yeah.
And to me, the brother and another brother's explorer, kind of thing,
Mhm.
and paleontologist and such. I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, do you have any brothers?
Yeah, 2. That's it.
Yeah, but you and your brothers you got some catching up to do, man. So
Yeah. I mean,
so-
yeah. We got a lot of catching up to do to meet up
Yeah.
to these people.
Me and my brother do too. But it's a real neat
Yeah.
story that we wanted to bring out there, about Anderson. And if you're from
Mhm.
Kentucky, you've heard of Anderson County, and named after just one of the
Yeah,
brothers
I
there.
mean,
So
Yeah, and there's, what all they did. I mean, geez, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that they were connected to just about everybody. If you can think, all major players in U.S. history, and I mean, even and I mean, not. There's the probably involvements they had probably with people in Kentucky as well, but I mean, these were big time guys.
major players in U.S. history up to the Civil War, and I'm curious to know
Mhm.
the descendants. What the story is,
Yeah.
what the descendants are today. So, but
Yep.
yeah, it'd be really cool if somebody was related to them, right? So. So
Michael.
okay, I guess we'll get out of here, but make sure you let us know where you're watching from, and
And give us some feedback too on how it went as far as it being pre-recorded and that sort of stuff too, because this is the first time we're doing this. We want to be as consistent as possible as far as having shows. So
Yeah, we can't. We can't do this. My son is a freak track athlete, and we have a visit this weekend with the University of Wisconsin, the Badgers. So we'll be going to. We'll be here. It will be all weekend here at Wisconsin and Madison, and they're playing Iowa, kind of thing on Saturday. So, but
yeah, I was gonna say, is it ooh? Ooh, is that what Wisconsin says for you? Ooh.
I don't know, UW, or they go. I know they do that big W for Wisconsin, but hopefully we're going to shoot a video or two up there at Wisconsin too. So, by the way, Camp Randall Stadium, was Camp Randall. It's one of the oldest stadiums in the United States. That's where Wisconsin Badgers play. But that was a Civil War recruitment base right there.
Oh, cool.
So they recruited, they trained the troops and stuff before they went off to battle, and now there's a football stadium on top of it, very old one. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about tonight, but that's where I'm at. So.
That's what, So, hope you all enjoyed.
What we got next week? Oh, we got some good stuff. Let's not tell them, man.
No, all right. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming.
Well, we wanted to do this one and this one and this one and this one. We're like, no, we need to do live with comments, kind of thing. We got some great shows coming up. So, not that this one wasn't cool, but Anderson Dynasty.
Anderson Dynasty. There you go.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon, guys. And thanks for watching. And hey, remember, family tree nuts. Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.